In our singing and praying, you'll see on the upper left some Hebrew, and below that there's some transliteration, so Hebrew with English-looking letters. And on the opposite page you'll see translation. So if you want to know, if you want to sing along, you can use the Hebrew or the transliteration. If you want to know what we're singing, the words are on the opposite page. Under the line we read once in a while, give some additional intentions and so on. So let's join our voices together on pages 140 and 141. To present him with a tallit, a Jewish prayer shawl, which he'll be wearing for the first time today. And the blessing is on page 143.
Alec, I love you so much and couldn't be more proud. I know just how hard you studied to prepare for your bar mitzvah. And now, here we are. Once upon a time I held you in my arms, and now you're 6 inches taller than me. And I have to tiptoe to wrap this tallit around you. When you wear this prayer garment, Alec, you fulfill the mitzvah of our Creator, wrapping yourself in the fringes. May you live your life with wisdom, love, and respect, honoring all creation. Bravery, facing others with integrity. Honesty, first with yourself. Humility, for Alec, you are a sacred part of creation. And truth. Amen.
Amen. Go ahead and say blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen. We continue our service on page 150. There's oh, that's beautiful. Mazel tov. The Kabbalists believed that what we do here on earth can also be helpful to God up above. And so we say this intention for our prayer that's on page 150 of the Holy One, of unifying the Holy One above and the Shekhinah, which is God, the godly presence here on earth, for the sake of loving our fellows as ourselves. So I invite you to read with me on 150. For the sake of the union of the Blessed Holy One with the Shekhinah, I stand here ready in body and mind to take upon myself the mitzvah. You shall love your fellow human being as yourself. And by this merit, may I open my mouth. We continue on 152. Blessed are you, awakener, our God, light of all the world, to remove sleep from my eyes and slumber from my eyelids. Blessed are you, the provident, our God, I'm on 154, life of all the world, who gives the bird of dawn discernment to tell day from night. Blessed are you, the fashioner, our God, light of all the world, who stretches forth the earth upon the water. 56. Blessed are you, the lamp, our God, light of all the world, who makes the blind to see.
Amen.
Blessed are you, the compassionate, our God, life of all the world, who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Blessed are you, redeeming one, our God, life of all the world, who makes the captive free.
Amen.
Blessed are you, the helping hand, our God, life of all the world, who raises up the humble.
Amen.
58. Blessed are you, the way, our God, life of all the world, who makes firm a person's steps.
Amen.
Blessed are you, the generous, our God, life of all the world, who acts for all my needs.
Amen.
Blessed are you, the mighty one, our God, life of all the world, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen.
Blessed are you, the beautiful, our God, life of all the world, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen.
Page 161. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ha'olamim shasani b'tzalot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ha'olamim shasani b'tchorim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ha'olamim shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ha'olamim hanoten la'ayat kol. Our Jewish service begins, it opens with just thanking God for our physical presence, the openings, the vessels, the fact that our nose and our mouths and everything do exactly what they're supposed to do. Please join with me on 162 if you feel so moved. Blessed are you, the architect, our God, the sovereign of all worlds, who shaped the human being with wisdom, making for us all the openings and vessels of the body. It is revealed and known before your throne of glory that if one of these passageways be open when it should be closed, or blocked up when it should be free, one could not stay alive or stand before you. Blessed are you, miraculous, the wondrous healer of all flesh. My God, the soul you gave to me is pure. Page 165.
Elohai Shama Shenatata B'Tevorahim.
Elohai Shama Shenatata
B'Tevorahim. Elohai Shama Shenatata B'Tevorahim. Elohai Shama Shenatata B'Tevorahim.
164. My God, the soul you gave to me is pure. You've created it, you shaped it, and you breathed it into me, and you preserve it deep inside of me. And someday you will take it from me, restoring it to everlasting life. 166. As long as spirit breathes in me, I offer thanks before you, breath divine, my God, God of my ancestors, the master of all deeds and source of every life. Blessed are you, the Holy Spirit, in whose possession is the breath of every living thing, the animation of all flesh. It's a pleasure to invite up Cindy Allard to read a Mary Oliver poem for us.
Song of the Builders. On a summer morning, I sat down on the hillside to think about God, a worthy pastime. Near me I saw a single cricket. It was moving the grains of the hillside this way and that way. How great was its energy, how humble its effort. Let us hope it will always be like this. Each of us going on in our explicable ways, building the universe.
Amen. Thank you. Page 176. Please read responsibly with me. Blessed is the one who spoke, and all things came to be.
Blessed are you.
Blessed who created all in the beginning.
Blessed is your name.
Blessed is the one who speaks and acts.
Blessed are you.
Blessed who determines and fulfills.
Blessed is your name.
Blessed who deals kindly with the world.
Blessed are you.
Blessed who acts kindly toward all creatures.
Blessed is your name.
Blessed who responds with good to those in awe.
Blessed are you.
Blessed who removes the dark and brings the light.
Blessed is your name.
Blessed is the one who lives eternally and lasts forever. Blessed who delivers and redeems.
Blessed are you, and blessed is your name.
Page 181 at the asterisk.
Yahweh haolamim, melech mishubach v'ad, adei Shemo hagadol, baruch atah Adonai, melech v'kulal batishbachot.
Aunties Boom and Pong have a reading for us.
Trees by Howard Nemiroff. To be a giant and keep quiet about it. To stay in one's own place. To stand for the constant presence of process and always to seem the same. To be steady as a rock and always trembling. Having the hard appearance of death with the soft, fluent nature of growth. One's being deceptively armored. One's becoming deceptively vulnerable. To be so tough and take the light so well, freely providing forbidden knowledge of so many things about heaven and earth for which we should otherwise have no word.
Poems or people are rarely so lovely, and even when they have great qualities, they tend to tell you rather than exemplify what they believe themselves to be about. While from the moving silence of trees, whether in storm or calm, and leaf and naked, night or day, we draw conclusions of our own sustaining and unnoticed as our breath, and perilous also, though there has never been a critical tree about the nature of things.
Thank you. On pages 208 through 211, we have the Psalm for the Sabbath day at Psalm 92. We have a beautiful song that Rabbi Hirsch is going to introduce to us.
And I especially want to do this morning for Alec. I live in the southern portion of the state where I have the opportunity to do conversions or returns for literally 50 or more Jews who were thrown out of Spain in the diaspora. And I want you to know that they have such beautiful music that they brought to the New World with them. And this is what Sephardic music sounds like when played on guitar and sung in Hebrew. On page 209.
Tov lechodot Adonai, ulzavir b'shimcha elyon, levavim b'boker na'astecha, ve'emunatecha ba'elon, ha'alei ha'asor ha'alei ha'alel, ha'alei negayon be'chino, ki samtani Adonai
to the eternal, to sing out to your name supreme, to tell about your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness at night, on 10-stringed lyre and on flute, with melodies conceived on harp. For you, Almighty One, elate me with your deeds, for I'll sing about the actions of your hands. How great your deeds have been, Supernal One, your thoughts exceedingly profound. Of this the foolish person cannot know, of this the shallow cannot understand. For though the wicked multiply like weeds, and evildoers sprout up all around, it is for their destruction, for all time. But you, majestic One, are lifted high eternally. We continue on page 215. Alec's Uncle Andrew Brill and Aunt Jennifer Brill are invited up for another beautiful poem.
One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice. Though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible.
It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.
Thank you. We join our voices together on page 231 for Psalm 150.
Hallelujah.
Move to the Hatzi Kaddish, 245.
Yikadal, the Yikadash, Shemed,
Amen.
Be'amad, Barachu, Timialik, Malute, Behayenehu, Yomehu, Upayenehu, Israel, Ba'agala, Ubizman Kaviv, Viru,
Amen.
Yeheshne, Rabba, Mehora, Le'olam, Le'omaya, Yitbara, Yitbara, V'yishtaba, V'yipar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithada, V'yithalev, V'yithalal, Shemed V'shavu, Le'al min kol Birchata, V'shirata, Tush Berata, V'nemata, V'imru,
Amen.
Please rise to Baruch. Page 247.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai, Hamelach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Yotzer Or Uvarei Hoshech Osei Shalom Uvarei et Hakol.
Please be seated. Page 268. Below the line. Please join with me. Every day, creation is renewed. Wake up and see unfolding in the spread of lighting dawn.
All it contains, coming into being, new, fresh, filled with divine goodness and love.
Every day, creation is renewed, reflected with great lights. We see a new day, one precious day, eternity.
Thank you. We have a song, another beautiful Sephardi song. It's on 269, the transliterated words.
Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMorot.
Page 272, please join me. This is one of my favorite passages of Torah. It precedes the Shema, call to oneness. With an abounding love, 272, for the same page, sorry, 272. With an abounding love, you love us, nurturer, our God. With great compassion do you care for us, our source, our sovereign, just as our ancestors placed their trust in you, and you imparted to them laws of life. So be gracious to us too, and teach us, our fount, our loving parent, caring one. Be merciful with us, and place into our hearts ability to understand, to see, to hear, to learn, to teach, to keep, to do, and to uphold with love all that we study of your Torah. 275.
Baruch Adonai, Ohevamo Yisrael.
277.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol me'odecha v'chayu ha'devarim ha'eleh asher Anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinamtam levanecha v'divarta bam v'shivtecha bevitecha uvlechtecha v'erech uvchodecha uvkumecha uvshartam leon al yedecha v'chayu letotofo beininecha uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha Ubisharecha
Adonai Elahechem Emet. Continue together on 291, celebrating the parting of the sea and our escaping to freedom. The bottom asterisk on 291. Sur Yisrael, Kuma Be'ezrat Yisrael, In 292, we have an introduction to the Amidah. It's a beautiful prayer to remind us every once in a while that even if we show up in services, even if we sing along and read along, sometimes there's still brokenness. Dear God, open the blocked passageways to you, the congealed places. Roll away the heavy stone from the well, as your servant Jacob did when he beheld his beloved Rachel. Help us open the doors of trust that have been jammed with hurt and rejection. As you open the blossoms in spring, even as you open the heavens in storm, open us to feel your great, awesome, wonderful presence. 295.
Adonai sekatatika ufi hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Yikunei Hakol, Bezoher Haster Bimo, Umevi Gula Livnei Bneihem, Leaman Shemo Be'avam, Melech Ozer Moshe Umagin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Abraham, Ve'ezras Serah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Rav Le'hoshia, Mashik HaRuach, Umarid HaVashem, Mechayek Elohim Behesed, Mechayek Kol Chai Berachamim Rabim, Somer Noflim V'Rochei Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umkayem Emunato, Lishemei Afar, Michamocha Ba'Givurot, Umidon Echlah, Melech Me'ni, Umkayeh, Umatni Yeshua, B'nei Manata Le'oto Hai, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh Kol Chai.
Page 303. Nekadesh et Shimcha ba'olam, Kashem shemati shimato b'shmei Maron, Kakatu b'yad neviecha, V'kara zeh el zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzbaot, Elohol ha'aretz kivodo, Az b'kol rash gadol, Adir v'chazak mashmim kol, Minasim l'man serafim, Le'omatam baruch yomeru, Baruch kevod Adonai Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. Please continue silently through page 323. Maxine Grayboys, accompanied by Taylor Kendall. What a treat to have you back. We'll get to hear from them 2 more times during this service. I want to invite us to close our Amida, our prayer, this part of our prayer service with Oseh Shalom. It's a blessing for peace.
Oseh Shalom Ibrahim, Aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'achol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'achol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'achol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'achol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'achol
We turn to page 385. Please rise. And Alec is so excited to invite all his little cousins to come up. Aviv and Asher and Lila and Benjamin, maybe with the help of Aunt Shirley, to open the ark for us. And that beautiful song that Maxine just sang, L'Dor Vador, means from generation to generation. So we're going to do a ritual of from generation to generation as well, with Mindy and Tony and Mindy's parents. If you want to come on up now too, that would be great.
Vayehivin so Aharon, Vayomer Moshe, Kudma Adonai, Vayarutzu Oivecha, Vayarutzu Ipanecha, Ipanecha, Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Ulevar Adonai, Liyerushalayim, Baruch Shem
So Alec is going to chant a couple of lines. We will repeat those lines back. And then we're going to begin a parade with the Torah and sing. And it's customary to touch the Torah reverently with your talis, if you have one, or the prayer book. Those of you in the balcony, this might be a time you want to come down and be part of the procession. And please repeat after Alec.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shemo.
Alec is going to make a figure 8, so you'll all have a chance.
Please be seated.
Okay, the Torah service. Before you all go back upstairs, who here has never seen the Torah up close? If you've not ever seen a Torah in person up close and you'd like to come on up right now before Alec does his reading and take a look.
Check it out. Come on, listen, there's not so many people who really want to check this out.
So here we are. You can see that we're all the way at one end of the scroll. Okay, Alec is reading from Parshat Bereshit, which is Bereshit is the very first word. It means in the beginning. So he's reading from the portion that begins the whole thing. We just rewound it this past week after a year-long cycle of going through it. Actually, we're going to have the celebration of it in Sunday school tomorrow for those who are members, but technically the holiday was already this past week. It reads, here, you hold that side? Okay, thanks Rabbi Hirsch. So it reads from right to left, and it's on parchment, which is why we use this little pointer called a yad. It's a picture of a hand, and it means hand in Hebrew. And that's how we keep track of where we are, because there's really not any vowels or punctuation or anything else. Any questions?
No questions?
Anyone want to give it a try? I don't know the exact age. This has been passed on. This style has been passed on since the early Common Era. This particular Torah, I'm not sure how old it is. What I do know is that it was two pieces of Torah that were both Holocaust survivors that were injured in the Holocaust that got sewn together to make one complete Torah. And we're very blessed to have it. So when you unwind it, you can see where the two different, because a scribe takes a scribe about a year to write one of these. And you can see where the hand, even though they're sort of identical, everybody's handwriting is a little bit different, and so you can see where it changes. Okay, huh? It can get retired. Yes, yes. And it gets a burial like a human would get burial if it gets retired. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so you are all blessed because it is an honor to come up to the Torah. And it's now a pleasure to invite Alec's Uncle Andrew and Aunt Shirley and Uncle Bob and Aunt Susan and Luke Mauro and Uncle Jim Mills and Aunt Lois Zollers Yam Du Kol Dodim V'Dodot L'Aliyah HaRishona. Unfortunately and sadly, Ronnie Sheldon was not able to be here. She's Alec's tutor who has worked with him for many months learning this, and her father unfortunately passed away yesterday, so she couldn't be here. We always have somebody that's kind of up here in the role of spotter. It's called Gabbai Shaney, so I'm stepping in as Gabbai Shaney, helping out Alec, but he read it beautifully yesterday, day before. So I want to invite everybody who's up here for the Aliyah to come. If you're wearing a tallis, touch the Torah with your tallis. Somebody on behalf of the group. Anybody wearing a tallis? Let's give you a tallis. And if you're reading along in the Chumash, in the version that's in the back, it's a slightly bigger red book. We're in Genesis chapter, we start on, it's chapter 2, verse 25. Gather close. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charainu mikol ha'amim v'natanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
ויהיו שניהם ערומים האדם ואשתו ולא יתבוששו והנחש היה ערום מכל חיית השדה אשר עשה אדוני אלוהים ויאמר אל האישה כי אמר אלוהים לא תאכלו מכל עץ הגן ותאמר האישה אל הנחש מפרי עץ הגן נאכל ומפרי העץ אשר בתוך הגן אמר אלוהים לא תאכלו ממנו ולא תיגעו בו פן תמותון ויאמר הנחש אל האישה לא מות תמותון כי יודע אלוהים כי ביום אכלתם ממנו ונפקחו עיניכם והייתם כאלוהים יודע טוב ורע.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu Baruch atah Adonai
rest of you can sit, and I'm going to give a group blessing after we do the next Aliyah. Do Mindy and Tony and Carol and Label L'Aliyah Shenit. Do Miriam Bat Shira Rivka Devin Seal but Label Ben Chaim Tony Blanche Aliyah Shenit.
Amen. Vaterech haisha ki tov ha'etz lemahal v'hit abachu le'enayim v'nechmad ha'etz le'askio v'tikach miprio v'tochal v'titein gam le'isha imach v'yochel ותיבקחנה עיני שניהם וידעו כי ערמים הם ויקראו אלה תענק ויעשו לכם חברות וישמעו את קול אדוני אלוהים מתהלך בגן לרוח היום ויתחווה האדם וישתו מפני אדוני אלוהים בתוך עץ הגן.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan לנו Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'zechenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et kol ele she'alu hayom lichvod hamakom lichvod haTorah v'lichvod haShabbat v'lichvod bar mitzvah le'Alec v'schar zeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu yechayem v'yishmarem mikol tzara v'tzukah mikol nega u'machala v'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'kol ma'aseh yedehem v'yivarchem im kol Yisrael achehem v'achiotehem v'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless all those here who have risen today to honor the omnipresent, to honor the Torah, to honor Shabbat, and to honor Alex's bar mitzvah. And by this merit may they be granted life and kept from all trouble and affliction and from every harm or sickness. And may they find blessing and success in all their labors, along with all of Israel, all their brothers and sisters. And let us say Amen. Mazel tov. So you can be seated, and Mindy will stay up. You'll come back up. Yeah. You can stay if you'd like. We can have a party up here. Anybody else want to? No, I'm just kidding. No, you're totally welcome to stay. I just, Ya'amod, Ya'amod, Ya'amod. Avimelech ben Miriam Nivatoni LaAliyah Bar Mitzvah. This is it.
Who has Adonai Hamorah?
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Kervanu Le'avodato V'natan lanu et Torto. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayikra Adonai Elohim El Hadam Vayomer Lo Ayekam Vayomer Ekolacha Shamati Bagan Vayiraki Erum Anochi Vayechave Vayomer Mi Yigid Leha Ki Erum Ata Amin ha'etz asher tziviti alavoti ahomi menu achalta vayomer ha'adam ha'isha asher natna imadi natnali la natata li min ha'etz va'ohel vayomer Adonai Elohim la'isha mazot hasit Vatomer ha'isha hanachash kishiani
ve'elchael.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kervanu le'avodato v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. So please rise again. Oh, no, sorry, I gotta do the blessing. This is a great blessing, and I have to do the whole thing in Hebrew as well as English because it has really a mystical power. Misha Beirach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yivarech et Avimelech ben Miriam Niva Antoni Asher Allah Hayom Lichvod Hamakom Lichvod HaTorah VaMitzvah Yehi Elohim imo biyamim haba'im ka'asher haya imo miyom hivaldo ba'ad hena Yehi ratzon Elohim legadlehu b'vriyut haguf v'hanefesh b'tfuna u'v'anvatchem be'ahava habriot u'be'ahavat Torah v'yimseichem b'sechel tov b'einei Elohim v'adam Yeru orav yismachu korvav ya'alizu v'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Alec, Mauro, the son of Mindy and Tony, who has risen today for the honor of the omnipresent, for the honor of Torah and Mitzvah. May God's presence fill his life in days to come, as God's sustenance has been with him since the day of his birth. May he grow in health of body and of spirit, in wisdom and in graciousness, humility and love of others, and in love of Torah. May he find favor and distinction in the eyes of God and of his fellow human beings. And let us say, Amen. So now please rise, and Andrew, and there's Jennifer and Uncle Jim, and I so apologize, and Uncle Jim and Aunt Lois. It truly takes a village to manage. Thank you, and Mazal Tov Hadassah, the Avram Reuven, and I don't know your Hebrew names, Leah Yaakov. Mazal Tov. Thank you. And y'all may be seated, and we're going to hear from Alec a word of Torah.
This week's Torah portion is called Breshit. It is the story of creation in the book of Genesis and begins with God creating the heaven and the earth. The section that I read from starts when Adam and Eve are in the Garden of Eden. God said to Adam, "You may eat of any tree in the garden except for the tree of knowledge of good and bad, for if you do, you will die." It occurred to God that it was not good for man to be alone, so he made a helper for him. God put man into a deep sleep and took one of his ribs and created woman out of it. Of all the wild creatures that God had created, the serpent was the most witty and cunning of them all. The serpent said to the woman, "Did God really say that you may not eat of any tree in the garden?" The woman replied, "We cannot eat of any tree in the garden except for the tree in the middle of the garden. If we eat of the tree in the middle, we will die." The serpent said, "You will not die. God knows that your eyes will be opened, and you will be like divine beings, knowing bad from good." The woman gave in to the serpent and ate of the tree, and when she saw what great knowledge it brought, she gave some to the man to eat. The man and the woman, having their eyes opened to such insight, discovered that they were naked and sewed fig leaves together for loincloths. They heard the sound of God moving throughout the garden and hid from him in the trees. God called out to the man and said, "Where are you?" The man replied, "I heard you in the garden and hid from you, because I was naked." God said, "Who told you that you were naked? Did you eat from the tree that I forbade you to eat of?" The man said, "The woman that you put at my side, she gave me some of the fruit of the tree, so I ate it." God then said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman replied, "The serpent tricked me." To make a long story short, because Adam and Eve gave in to temptation and disobeyed God, they were banished from the Garden of Eden forever. What I find very interesting about this week's portion is that after Adam and Eve were thrown out of the Garden of Eden, they had two sons named Cain and Abel. One day, Cain offered God fruit from the soil, and Abel offered one of his best young sheep. God accepted Abel's offer. However, he declined the offer of Cain. Cain became very jealous of his brother, but God advised Cain to not be distressed, and that if Cain did the right thing, there would be uplift. But if he did the wrong thing, sin would crouch at his door. Eventually, because of jealousy, Cain killed Abel. God asked Cain where his brother was, And Cain replied with the age-old saying of, I don't know, what am I, my brother's keeper? Obviously, because God is in fact God, he knew of Cain's sin and punished him, making him a ceaseless wanderer of the earth. While studying Bereshit, some questions occurred to me. First off, why does God have to ask where Abel is? If God knows all, wouldn't he know that Cain killed his brother and would not confess? This relates back to when Cain's parents, Adam and Eve, ate from the tree and found out that they were naked. Wouldn't God know exactly where Adam was and why he was hiding, even without asking him? I think it's just like a new parent with a child. God didn't know how to guide mankind. For example, Adam and Eve did not know that blaming each other for their transgressions were wrong. So, how are they supposed to know how to teach Cain and Abel to take personal responsibility for their own actions? Think about how your parents teach you how to act, and what personal qualities to have. Personal qualities in Hebrew are called midot. Adam and Eve, just being created and not having experienced childhood, were never taught the lessons of midot. Adam and Eve were Cain and Abel's parents, and had a huge influence on them. If Cain and Abel were not taught what good qualities to have by their parents, how is Cain supposed to know not to murder his brother? And is it really Adam and Eve's fault for not passing on good midot to Cain? Adam and Eve did not have parents. Who was supposed to pass midot on to them? Was it supposed to be learned from the tree of knowledge, or was it supposed to be passed down from personal experience? If so, shouldn't God have passed down midot to Adam and Eve? Or, maybe because God is all-knowing, he felt that when Adam and Eve gave into temptation, that the consequence would teach Adam and Eve a lesson. And maybe God knew that if they were taught a lesson, they would not make the same mistake again. Many of the teaching in this portion relate to our lives today. Sometimes, for example, my mom will ask me as I'm leaving for school, do you have all your homework? And I will say, yes. But then I figure out that I didn't have all of my homework, and that my mom knew this all along. The consequence is that I don't have my homework for class. This is just like when God is trying to teach Adam and Eve lessons. I know in my life that my parents passed down many good qualities to me. If they did not pass down those qualities to me, then I don't know what I would be like. Bereshit is such a great portion for a teenager to study because many times teenagers are told not to do things, but we do them anyway, and our parents know that we will. Thus, we must face the consequence. The consequence of Adam, Eve, and Cain's decisions to give in to temptation changed their lives forever. As teenagers become young adults, we must face temptations and make choices every day that could change our lives or the lives of others forever. Bereshit shows us how Torah teaches us about our lives today. Becoming a bar mitzvah means that I have an even greater responsibility to make good choices and pass midot on to others. Music can change the world because it can change people. That is a quote from Bono. I feel it represents my mitzvah project well. For my mitzvah project, I did two things. I went to the Minturn Senior Center to help serve lunch and perform on my saxophone. It was a blast. I loved watching their faces light up as I played an old recognizable jazz tune. Many were clapping and swaying back and forth in their speech to the music. I even got the chance to sit down and eat lunch with them. The other project that I am involved in is helping teach younger children how to play music. I volunteer for the Youth Foundation's First Notes program. It is a program for kids aged 3rd through 5th grades. I teach every Wednesday from 3:45 to 5:30 at Homestead Creek School. All of the kids in the program are very polite, and I think that they really enjoy having someone who's closer to their age to help mentor them. I think that it is very important for me, as a musician, to get the opportunity to teach people how to play music. It has been hard and easy teaching because what they are learning is very basic, so I have to be incredibly patient. My favorite part of teaching is when I bring my saxophone to class. The kids are so excited to hear me play and are fascinated by all the keys and how the sound comes out of my instrument. I'm looking forward to continuing my work with the First Notes throughout the fall. I would like to thank my mom for spending hours upon hours preparing for this day, and for being there for me no matter what. Even though we don't always get along on everything, I love you always. I would also like to thank my dad for being a mediator of the household and just being an awesome dad. Whether it's driving across Iowa to jazz camp or shooting hoops, we always have a great time. Grandma Face, thank you for the beautiful Talit and Skype sessions, as well as helping me with my prayers when we were here and eating sandwiches in Beaver Creek. Grandpa Lee, thank you for the fun Skype session. I would also like to thank Uncle Jim and Aunt Lois for being here. It's really great that you're celebrating this special day with me. I would also like to thank my Auntie Boone for coming all the way from Boston. I'd like to thank the California Brills for being awesome uncles, aunts, and cousins. Thank you to the Denver Moros for being here. Thank you, Grandma Blanche, for being the life of Thanksgiving every year and cracking the funniest jokes I've ever heard. I would also like to thank Rabbi Deborah for meeting with me and helping me along my journey towards this day. Ronnie for being an amazing Hebrew tutor, although she cannot be here today, who also has a great sense of humor, and Rabbi Hirsch for adding his musical abilities to the service. Lastly, I would like to thank everybody who is here, from close or far, for celebrating this day for me. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Congratulations, Alec. That was fabulous, and I think we all learned from that, didn't we?
Yes.
Awesome. You raise a really great question, a really great point about why does God say, "Where are you?" Ayeka, when God already knows. And that is the voice that is in all of us, whether we're being observed or caught or not. That you always have that. You know that you have this relationship that is always with you. And God wants to know, where are you? Are you my partner? And you are doing a beautiful job in modeling that. I got to see you in the play a few weeks, or however, a couple months ago, playing a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, the year after playing a bar mitzvah boy. And when you played the bar mitzvah boy, it was really great because your dad came up and said, "Does that count?" And I said, "Nice try, Tony." But you did, here you are, you really are, and may this be the beginning of your Jewish journey. I want to bring Rabbi Hirsch with us. Let's go stand in front of the Torah, and we will offer you the priestly blessing here. Oh yeah, the Torah's over there. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May God's face be raised to you and shine compassion upon you. May God's face be raised to you and bring you wholeness and peace. Let us say Amen. So you can have a seat for a second, and we have two more prayers, blessings we're going to do before we put the Torah away. One is with Maxine and Taylor. We have a healing blessing, a mishaberach, for those who aren't well. The words of it are the inside back cover of your prayer book. The custom in this community is for us to offer names of people whose healing we're praying for during the interlude between verses. Body and soul. Any names you want to offer? Amen, and thank you. On page 418, we have a prayer for our country. It's a tough time in the world right now, and a tough time for politicians. And this helps us remember that they're doing their best to serve, or helps pray for them to do their best to serve our country. Please join me on 418. Sovereign of the universe, mercifully receive our prayer for our land and its government. Let your blessing pour out on this land and on all officials of this country who are occupied in good faith with the public needs. Instruct them from your Torah's laws. Enable them to understand your principles of justice so that peace and tranquility, happiness and freedom might never turn away from our land. Please, wise one, God of the life breath of all flesh, waken your spirit within all inhabitants of our land, and plant among the peoples of different nationalities and faiths who dwell here love and brotherhood, peace and friendship. Uproot from their hearts all hatred and enmity, all jealousy and vying for supremacy. Fulfill the yearning of all the people of our country to speak proudly in its honor. Fulfill their desire to see it become a light to all nations. Therefore, may it be your will that our land should be a blessing to all inhabitants of the globe. Cause to dwell among all peoples friendship and freedom. And soon fulfill the vision of your prophet, nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Let them learn no longer ways of war. Amen. We turn to page 441 and rise for putting the Torah away. Please be seated. Thank you. And I want to invite Mindy and Tony up to offer another blessing. Parents' blessing.
Alec, I promise you that I will try to do this without crying. Sorry, buddy. I don't think I can keep this one. Let me begin by sharing with everyone here that neither Dan nor I asked you to have a bar mitzvah. You chose to make this day happen, and much in the same way that you approach life, once you chose to dedicate yourself to becoming a bar mitzvah, you set the bar for yourself, dove in, Not only learning what was necessary, but learning it well. Alec, you have always been your own person. Thank you. You know yourself well and have made choices about what path to take in life that has shown maturity far beyond your years. You are one who does not back down or go with the flow if the flow does not agree with your sense of right and wrong. I find it interesting that your Torah portion so fits the strengths that you have shown as a young man. You spoke to us today about choices and consequences. You have proven to your dad and myself that you really do understand the consequences of your choices well, most of the time. Whether it was to give up ski racing because you knew it was not going to be your long-term passion, in spite of the arguments made by your dad and I to the contrary, or to become a better friend to someone who really needed a friend. You have made choices with class and believe in yourself and have taught your dad and I a thing or two. A story that I will never forget, which kind of typifies you, Alec, is one evening when you were about 7 years old and being quite naughty, I sent you to your room. Although I can't remember what was said by me, all of a sudden a paper airplane was sent sailing down the stairs. And you yelled to me to read what was written on it, and when I was ready, I was supposed to come up to discuss it with you. As I opened the paper airplane and read the contents, I realized that it was a copy of the 10 Commandments that was given to you at Sunday school that week. How was I supposed to follow up that one? Alec, you're incredibly loyal, kind, and an empathetic young man, and I really believe that you do strive to live your life to do the right thing. Your talents that you share with others is a gift that brings as much joy to them as it does to you. One thing I must admit that I do not like is now that I have to look up when I'm angry at you. How am I supposed to yell up at my 13-year-old son? Seriously, I'm so proud and honored to be your mom. You are my son, you are my buddy, and when you were born, I had no idea what a wonderful journey, being your mom with me. I would like to close this little speech by repeating to you something that your dad said a few months back. Remember, today does not define who you are. It contributes to who you will be. I love you.